Welcome to DSLTV channel. Kindly like and subscribe.
In the heart of the sprawling African savanna, nestled between ancient baobab trees and rolling hills, lay the tranquil village of Ife. The villagers of Ife were known for their rich traditions, vibrant culture, and unwavering faith. They celebrated life with fervor, honoring their ancestors and the gods of the land with songs, dances, and rituals. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky was painted with hues of crimson and gold, two mysterious figures emerged from the shadows. Enyo and Odin, the infamous witches, had arrived in Ife. Their presence sent a chilling wind through the village, causing the flames of the communal bonfire to flicker ominously. Enyo, tall and slender with eyes that gleamed polished, was known for her cunning and dark magic. Her companion, Odin, shorter but equally malevolent, had a voice that could lull even the most vigilant into a deep, hypnotic slumber. Together, they were a formidable duo, leaving a trail of despair and destruction in their wake. As the villagers went about their evening rituals, unaware of the impending doom, Enyo and Odin watched from the shadows, their minds brimming with malevolent intent. The witches had come to Ife with a singular purpose, to bend the village to their will and extract its lifeblood for their dark purposes. The first to feel their wrath was the village chief, Olumide. As he sat in his hut, meditating upon the day's events, a strange mist crept through the cracks in the walls. Olumide's eyes grew heavy, and his limbs felt like lead. Before he could utter a word of prayer, he was plunged into a deep, unnatural sleep. Enyo and Odin slipped into the hut, their laughter echoing softly in the still night. "Sleep well, Olumide," Enyo whispered, her voice a serpent's hiss. "You will not awaken until we have what we desire." Outside, the village was still and quiet. The only sound was the distant croaking of frogs and the rustle of leaves in the breeze. The witches moved through the village like wraiths, casting spells of confusion and fear. Livestock began to bleat and howl, sensing the unnatural presence. Children whimpered in their sleep, plagued by nightmarish visions conjured by Odin's dark magic. Morning came, but the sun's rays brought no warmth or solace to Ife. The villagers awoke to chaos. Chief Olumide was unresponsive, and many others complained of restless sleep and disturbing dreams. Rumors spread like wildfire, and fear took root in the hearts of the villagers. Amidst the confusion, one man remained calm, Pastor Adewale. A man of deep faith and unwavering resolve, Pastor Adewale had always been a beacon of hope and guidance for the people of Ife. He sensed the dark presence that had settled over the village and knew that a great evil was at play. Gathering the elders and the villagers, Pastor Adewale spoke with conviction. "We are facing a darkness that seeks to consume us," he declared. "But we must stand firm in our faith and trust in God's power. Together, we will overcome this evil." The villagers, though frightened, found solace in Pastor Adewale's words. They vowed to support one another and seek divine intervention to break the witches' hold on their village. Thus began a battle of light against darkness, faith against malevolence, with the soul of Ife hanging in the balance. As the villagers prayed and sought protection, Enyo and Odin watched from their hidden lair. The witches were not deterred by the villagers' resolve. Instead, they were fueled by the challenge. They knew that to break the spirit of Ife, they would need to unleash their most potent magic and sow discord from within. But the power of faith is a formidable force, and Pastor Adewale was not alone in his mission. Unknown to the witches, the village of Ife held a secret, an ancient blessing bestowed upon it by the ancestors. It was this blessing that Pastor Adewale intended to invoke, setting the stage for an epic confrontation between the forces of good and evil. Pastor Adewale gathered the villagers in the sacred grove, a place where the spirits of their ancestors were believed to dwell. The air was thick with anticipation and the scent of burning sage. The villagers formed a circle around the ancient baobab tree at the center of the grove, their faces illuminated by the flickering light of oil lamps. In this grove, our ancestor spirits reside, Pastor Adewale began, his voice resonating with authority. We must call upon their wisdom and strength to guide us through this darkness. The villagers closed their eyes and began to chant, their voices merging into a harmonious blend of prayers and supplications. Pastor Adewale led them in a powerful invocation, calling upon the ancestral spirits to awaken and protect their descendants. As the chanting grew louder, a warm breeze rustled through the leaves of the baobab tree. A faint, golden light began to emanate from its trunk, casting a soft glow over the grove. The villagers opened their eyes in awe as the light intensified, revealing the shimmering forms of their ancestors. The spirits of Ife's ancestors were majestic and ethereal, their presence filling the grove with a sense of peace and strength. Among them was Adebayo, the great warrior who had defended the village from invaders, and Ayaton, the wise healer who had cured countless ailments with her knowledge of herbs. "We hear your call, descendants of Ife," Adebayo's voice boomed like distant thunder. "We have watched over you from the spirit realm, and we will aid you in your time of need." Ayaton stepped forward, her eyes shining with compassion. "The darkness that plagues you is formidable, but your faith and unity are your greatest weapons. We will grant you the protection of the ancestral blessing, a shield against the witch's malevolent magic." The villagers bowed their heads in gratitude as the spirits began to chant in a language older than time itself. The golden light from the baobab tree expanded, enveloping the villagers in a warm, protective cocoon. Pastor Adewale felt a surge of power course through him, a divine strength that bolstered his resolve. With the blessing of their ancestors, the villagers returned to Ife, determined to reclaim their village from the clutches of Enyo and Odin. The witches, sensing the shift in the villagers' energy, grew more agitated and intensified their efforts to spread fear and chaos. Enyo conjured storms that battered the village, while Odin summoned dark apparitions to haunt the villagers' dreams. But the ancestral blessing shielded the people of Ife, repelling the witches' dark magic and keeping their spirits strong. Pastor Adewale, emboldened by the ancestral blessing, led the villagers in daily prayers and rituals, fortifying their faith and unity. He knew that the battle was far from over, but with the power of their ancestors and God's grace, they stood a fighting chance. The witches, realizing that their usual tactics were failing, decided to change their approach. They devised a sinister plan to infiltrate the village from within, sowing seeds of distrust and division among the villagers. If they could turn the people of Ife against each other, their unity would crumble, and the ancestral blessing would weaken. Enyo and Odin assumed the guise of ordinary villagers, blending seamlessly into the community. They spread malicious rumors and whispered lies, pitting friends against friends and neighbors against neighbors. Their dark influence began to take hold, and the once united village started to fracture. Pastor Adewale sensed the growing discord and knew that the witches were behind it. He called for a village meeting, urging everyone to come together and speak openly about their concerns. It was a tense and emotional gathering, but it was necessary to confront the issues head-on. As the villagers aired their grievances, Pastor Adewale guided them with wisdom and compassion, helping them to see through the witches' deceit. Slowly but surely, the bonds of trust and friendship were reforged, and the villagers vowed to remain vigilant against any further attempts to divide them. The witches, frustrated by their inability to break the villagers' unity, retreated to their lair to devise a new plan. They knew that they needed to strike at the heart of the village's faith and find a way to neutralize Pastor Adewale's influence. But Pastor Adewale was not alone in his fight. The spirits of the ancestors continued to watch over Ife, lending their strength and guidance. The villagers, fortified by their faith and their ancestral blessing, prepared for the next phase of the battle against the witches. As the sun set on another day in Ife, the village stood united and resolute, ready to face whatever darkness Enyo and Odin might unleash. The stage was set for an epic confrontation, one that would test the limits of faith, courage, and the enduring power of community. While the villagers fortified their faith and unity, Enyo and Odin retreated to their hidden lair, deep within the labyrinthine caves beneath the ancient hills. The lair was a dark and foreboding place, filled with twisted roots and eerie, glowing crystals that pulsed with malevolent energy. It was here that the witches plotted their next move. "We cannot break them through fear and division alone," Enyo mused, her eyes reflecting the dim, greenish light of the crystals. "We must strike at the very heart of their power, their faith." Odin nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. "If we can undermine their faith in Pastor Adewale and their ancestral blessing, the village will be ours." The witches set to work, crafting a plan that would shake the villagers' faith to its core. They decided to create an illusion so powerful and convincing that even the most devout among the villagers would doubt the divine protection they had received. The first part of their plan involved capturing a sacred relic from the village shrine, a relic that was believed to hold the essence of the ancestors' blessing. Disguised once again as villagers, Enyo and Odin slipped into Ife under the cover of darkness, their forms shifting and blending with the shadows. As they approached the shrine, a sense of foreboding hung in the air. The shrine, a modest structure adorned with offerings and symbols of faith, was guarded by a young man named Kola, chosen for his unwavering devotion and strength of spirit. Kola had always felt a deep connection to the ancestors, and his presence at the shrine was a testament to his dedication. Enyo and Odin watched from the shadows, waiting for the opportune moment. As Kola knelt in prayer, his eyes closed and his heart opened to the divine, the witches struck. Enyo whispered an incantation, and a cloud of dark smoke enveloped Kola, rendering him unconscious. They moved swiftly, entering the shrine and locating the sacred relic, the small, intricately carved statuette of the first ancestor of Ife. As Enyo reached for the relic, a blinding light emanated from it, forcing her to recoil. Odin stepped forward, her hands glowing with a dark energy. She chanted a counterspell, suppressing the relic's protective aura long enough for Enyo to grasp it. With the relic in their possession, the witches vanished into the night, leaving Kola unconscious on the shrine floor. The next morning, the villagers discovered the theft. Panic and despair rippled through Ife as word spread. The sacred relic, a symbol of their ancestors' blessing, was gone. The villagers gathered at the shrine, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty. Pastor Adewale stood before them, his heart heavy but his resolve unshaken. "We must not lose faith," he urged. "The power of the ancestors and God is within us, not in any one object. We will recover the relic, but we must remain united and steadfast in our belief." Despite his words, doubt began to creep into the hearts of the villagers. Enyo and Odin, sensing the villagers' growing vulnerability, intensified their efforts. They cast illusions of despair and hopelessness, making it seem as though the village was on the brink of ruin. Strange occurrences plagued Ife, crops withered overnight, livestock fell ill, and an unseasonable drought set in. The villagers' faith wavered as the witches' illusions grew more convincing. They began to question whether the ancestral blessing had truly protected them or if it was all just a comforting lie. Pastor Adewale, feeling the weight of his responsibility, spent long hours in prayer, seeking guidance and strength. One night, as he knelt in the sacred grove, he felt a presence beside him. Opening his eyes, he saw the shimmering form of Adebeo, the great warrior ancestor. "Do not lose heart, Adewale," Adebeo said, his voice a balm to the pastor's troubled soul. "The witch's power lies in deceit and fear. You must uncover their lair and retrieve the relic. Only then will the villagers' faith be fully restored." Bolstered by the ancestors' words, Pastor Adewale gathered a group of the village's bravest and most faithful. Among them was Kola, who had recovered from the witch's attack and was eager to prove his dedication. Together, they prepared for a journey into the unknown, determined to reclaim their sacred relic and confront the witches head-on. As they ventured into the hills, guided by the faint whispers of their ancestors and their unwavering faith, the villagers of Ife stood at the threshold of a new chapter in their struggle. The path ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty, but their resolve was unbreakable. They would face the darkness together, driven by the light of faith and the enduring power of their unity. With the first light of dawn illuminating the horizon, Pastor Adewale and his companions set out on their perilous journey. The hills that loomed ahead were shrouded in mist, their ancient, craggy faces whispering secrets of times long past. The group, consisting of Pastor Adewale, Kola, and 3 other brave villagers, Neka, a skilled herbalist, Olekana, a hunter, and Adisa, a blacksmith, was prepared for the challenges that lay ahead. As they ascended the hills, the air grew colder and the terrain more treacherous. Every step was a test of endurance and faith. The path was fraught with obstacles, from slippery rocks to hidden crevices that threatened to swallow the unwary. Yet, the group's determination remained unshaken, bolstered by their shared purpose and the knowledge that their ancestors watched over them. At midday, they paused to rest in a small clearing. Pastor Adewale led them in a prayer, asking for strength and guidance. The atmosphere was solemn but hopeful, each member drawing comfort from their shared devotion. "We are not alone," Pastor Adewale reminded them. "The spirits of our ancestors and the grace of God are with us. We will find the witch's lair and reclaim our sacred relic." As they resumed their journey, the path grew narrower and more rugged. The mist thickened, reducing visibility and heightening the sense of isolation. They moved cautiously, every sound magnified in the eerie silence. Suddenly, Kola, who was leading the group, halted and raised his hand in silence. The others gathered around him, peering into the dense fog. Through the mist, they could just make out the outline of a cave entrance, partially concealed by overgrown vines and moss. "This must be it," Kola whispered, his voice tinged with both excitement and apprehension. The group approached the cave with caution, their senses heightened. The entrance was dark and foreboding, exuding an aura of malevolence that sent shivers down their spines. Pastor Adewale stepped forward, his faith unwavering. "Stay close and be vigilant," he instructed. "We must face whatever lies within with courage and unity." They entered the cave, their torches casting flickering shadows on the damp walls. The air inside was cold and stale, carrying the faint scent of decay. The tunnel descended steeply, leading them deeper into the heart of the hills. As they ventured further, they encountered strange symbols etched into the walls, runes of dark magic that seemed to pulse with a sinister energy. Neko studied them closely, her knowledge of herbal lore and ancient practices guiding her. "These symbols are meant to ward off intruders and protect the witch's lair," she explained. "We must be cautious and stay together." The deeper they went, the more oppressive the atmosphere became. It was as if the very air was charged with dark magic, seeking to sap their strength and resolve. But Pastor Adewale's faith remained a beacon, guiding them through the labyrinthine tunnels. After what felt like hours of navigating the cave's twists and turns, they reached a large, cavernous chamber. The ceiling was high, disappearing into the darkness above, and the walls were lined with more of the glowing crystals that pulsed with an eerie light. At the center of the chamber stood an altar, and upon it, the stolen sacred relic. But they were not alone. Enyo and Odin stood before the altar, their eyes gleaming with malice and triumph. The witches had sensed their approach and were ready to confront them. "Fools," Enyo sneered, her voice echoing through the chamber. "Did you truly believe you could challenge us and survive?" Odin raised her hands, and a dark, swirling vortex of energy began to form between her palms. "Your faith is meaningless here. This is our domain, and you will fall before our power." Pastor Adewale stepped forward, his eyes blazing with determination. "We are not afraid of you," he declared. "Our faith in God and the strength of our ancestors will see us through. We have come to reclaim what you have stolen and to end your reign of terror." The witches laughed, a chilling sound that reverberated through the chamber. "You will find that your faith is no match for our magic," Enyo said, her voice dripping with contempt. The battle that ensued was fierce and relentless. The air crackled with the clash of dark magic and divine power. Enyo and Odin unleashed torrents of malevolent energy, their spells twisting and riding like serpents. But Pastor Adewale and his companions stood firm, their faith shielding them from the worst of the witches' attacks. Kola, with his warrior spirit, engaged Enyo, dodging her spells with agility and striking back with unyielding resolve. Neko used her knowledge of herbs to counteract Odin's dark magic, creating protective barriers and healing wounds with her potions. Olokona and Adisa fought bravely, their skills as hunter and blacksmith proving invaluable in the struggle. Pastor Adewale, at the heart of the battle, called upon the divine power that flowed through him. His prayers were a weapon, his faith a shield. He confronted the witches with a strength that came not from physical prowess but from an unbreakable spirit. As the battle raged on, the cavern itself seemed to tremble. The crystals pulsed with increasing intensity, reacting to the clash of opposing forces. The air grew thick with the scent of burning herbs and the acrid tang of dark magic. Finally, with a powerful prayer, Pastor Adewale channeled a surge of divine energy that struck the altar, shattering it and releasing the sacred relic. The relic's light exploded outward, engulfing the chamber in a brilliant, blinding radiance. Enyo and Odin screamed in agony as the light pierced their dark magic, weakening them. Seizing the opportunity, Kola and the others pressed their advantage, driving the witches back. With one final, desperate effort, Pastor Adewale raised the relic high, invoking the power of the ancestors and God. The light from the relic intensified, and the witches were engulfed in its purifying glow. As the light faded, Enyo and Odin lay defeated, their dark powers broken. The chamber was silent, save for the ragged breathing of the victorious villagers. "We have done it," Pastor Adewale said, his voice filled with both relief and reverence. The power of faith and unity has prevailed. They gathered the relic and began their journey back to Ife, their hearts filled with gratitude and the knowledge that they had overcome a great darkness. The village would soon be free from the witches' malevolent influence, and their faith would be stronger than ever. The journey back to Ife was a triumphant one. Though weary from their battle, the group moved with renewed energy and a sense of purpose. The relic, now safely in their possession, emitted a warm, comforting light that seemed to guide their steps and heal their wounds. As they descended from the hills, the mist lifted, and the sun broke through the clouds, casting a golden glow over the landscape. Upon reaching the outskirts of the village, they were met with a crowd of anxious villagers. Word of their quest had spread, and the people of Ife had been praying fervently for their safe return. When they saw Pastor Adewale and his companions emerge from the hills, the villagers erupted in joyous cheers and songs of praise. The sacred relic was placed back in the village shrine with great reverence. Pastor Adewale led a ceremony of thanksgiving, offering prayers to God and their ancestors for their guidance and protection. The atmosphere was one of profound gratitude and renewed faith, the villagers' spirits lifted by the success of the quest. "We have faced great darkness and emerged victorious," Pastor Adewale proclaimed to the gathered villagers. "This victory is not just ours, but a testament to the power of faith, unity, and the enduring bond we share with our ancestors." The village elders, who had been particularly shaken by the theft of the relic, expressed their deep appreciation for the courage and dedication of those who had undertaken the perilous journey. "You have shown us that with faith and determination, we can overcome any challenge," Chief Olumide said, his voice filled with emotion. "The spirits of our ancestors are truly with us, and we are blessed to have such steadfast leaders among us." As the days passed, the village of Ife began to heal. The crops that had withered under the witch's dark influence started to recover, and the livestock regained their health. The unseasonable drought lifted, and the rivers and streams flowed once more, bringing life back to the parched earth. The villagers worked together to repair any damage caused during the period of chaos, their renewed unity making the task seem lighter. They held communal feasts, dances, and rituals, celebrating their victory and reaffirming their commitment to one another and their faith. Enyo and Odin, though defeated, had left a lingering shadow over Ife. The villagers knew that vigilance was necessary to prevent such darkness from taking root again. They strengthened their spiritual practices, ensuring that their connection to the divine and their ancestors remained strong. Pastor Adewale continued to lead with wisdom and compassion, his role as a spiritual guide more vital than ever. He reminded the villagers that their true strength lay in their faith and unity, and that they must always be prepared to face any challenges with courage and resolve. One evening, as the village gathered for a storytelling session around the communal fire, an elder named Amina shared a tale that resonated deeply with the recent events. It was a story of a great eagle, whose wings were so vast they could cover the entire sky. The eagle protected the land from evil spirits and brought blessings to those who lived in harmony with nature and each other. But the eagle's strength, Amina said, her voice carrying the weight of generations, did not come from its wings alone. It came from the love and respect of the creatures it protected. As long as they believed in the eagle and cared for each other, the eagle's power was limitless. The villagers listened intently, understanding the parallel to their own lives. They realized that their strength came from their collective faith and their commitment to supporting one another. This was the true essence of the ancestral blessing, and it was something that no witch or dark force could ever take away. As the night drew to a close, Pastor Adewale stood and addressed the villagers one last time. "We have been through a great trial, but we have emerged stronger and more united. Let us never forget the lessons we have learned. Let us honor our ancestors and our faith by living lives of kindness, courage, and unwavering belief in the good." With these words, the villagers dispersed, their hearts light and their spirits high. The village of Ife had faced the shadows of Enyo and Odin and had triumphed, not just through strength of arms, but through the power of faith and unity. The future of Ife was bright, and its people were ready to face whatever challenges might come, knowing that they stood together, guided by the light of their ancestors and the grace of God.